George Kilpatrick, inspiration for the nation, celebrating people we feel good about. We have a legacy of greatness on the campus of Syracuse University. For 100 years, the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, one of, if not the first, Black organization on the campus of Syracuse University, the Kappa chapter of Omega Psi Phi, celebrating 100 years, their centennial celebration coming up April 22nd through the 24th. I hope those are the right dates. They
That's
are.
right. Yep.
Yes. And we have one of the sons of Omega, Joseph Edwards, who is an actor, but not only an actor, he's a proud member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity. What year did you come across those mighty sands, Brother Joe?
1980s. April 12, 1980, man. I can't believe it's been that long.
Yes, sir. So this certainly has been a labor of love for you, putting together the centennial celebration and recognizing the many years of service Kappa chapter of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity has had on the Syracuse University campus. So let's talk about, number one, let's start with the weekend and what's happening and what folks can look forward to participating in.
Yeah, well, we're expecting brothers and family and friends to come back on this centennial weekend. It's from the 22nd to the 24th of April. We have a lineup of events that we'll get into in a minute. But we've reached out to brothers as far back as 1962, 3, 4. It's been a real powerful experience, just tracking brothers down and hearing their stories about what the campus was like during their day. Many of them are actually kind of can't make it back because of health reasons, but we're so happy to hear from the younger brothers of Kappa chapter. And as I must say that I'm a part of a dynamic committee, which includes some really wonderful brothers from different generations. A brother David Jackson, 2014, is the chair, and brother Ronald Harvey is the co-chair. I think at some point they may want to come on and talk to you because they have some really wonderful stories themselves. But this weekend is designed so that we can actually take a moment to reflect on the fact that we've been on this campus for 100 years, given some of the gaps that have happened through attrition, what have you. But we looked at these past 100 years and realized really that we have been a force fighting for social justice and inclusion all of these years. And we didn't necessarily have a name for the word back then, safe space. But the Omega Psi Phi fraternity has been creating safe spaces for Black and Latino students on that campus for 100 years. And it's really interesting to reflect upon that now, because now, that's the hot button word for, being sensitive and inclusive. Yeah. We've been fighting for that for 100 years. In addition to continuing to be scholars on that campus. And we've always been working in the community. So we're talking 100 years of scholarship, 100 years of brotherhood, 100 years of community service, And,
and I think for the Syracuse community to think of the significance of an organization that was transferred to Syracuse in 1922, that this is 11 years after the fraternity was founded, right? And 11 years later, here, this chapter is transferred to Syracuse University, and that legacy begins. And Joe, certainly, you're going to say.
Yeah. So that's why we're a single letter chapter. One of the single letter chapters,
Right. Oh, Syracuse University, right? Who would have thought that, right? And obviously, for people that aren't familiar with the way chapters are named, they go in order, right? And then after the single letter chapters, you get, so for example, in Syracuse, we have the Chi Pi chapter, 2 letters, and then you have some chapters that have 3 letters, right?
Absolutely.
3 Greek letter organizations. But so Joe, about the time that you were here in the 1980s, describe what it was like for you on the campus. And certainly I was on the campus with you at that time.
Yeah, you were, yeah. I think we had
So
a
I
lot
could
of hair
probably
at
tell
that
y'all,
time, George.
right. I had a
But,
lot more hair. But
man,
you know, I looked at my yearbook photo. I did have still a goatee for some reason. I don't know why. What that's about.
yeah, the campus at the time I was there, it was exciting. We were a small Black community, but a conscious and supportive Black community. And
Mm-hmm.
Omega Psi Phi, like many of the other Black Week organizations, were actively creating culture and you can say recruiting, and we were very present. And it's different now, but in the 80s we were still very present and very needed, and we were battling inclusion issues, on the campus. Although we were very busy, being students, as well as trying to create experiences for ourselves and for others that were memorable. One of the things that stands out about our relationships with people is that we weren't just a clique and friends with Omega men. We had friends from all walks of life that came to our events, that came to our parties. We had great relationships with our sisters because that was kind of how we had to roll in that environment, And so we've impacted thousands of people's lives in terms of all the activities we did. People remember the step shows. People will send me pictures of step shows that I was involved in. I'm like, just so many memories that you can't file them in your brain.
Are you still stepping, Joe?
I am.
All right, I see you.
Now, yeah, I am, but a little more gingerly than I used to. More like a but I can get loose though,
Okay. So when Atomic Dog comes on, we can see you do a little something, right?
George. I'm at that age where you realize what your limitations are. And
yes.
And I've seen some brothers in their mind think they can kick it out. And Atomic Dog comes on, they jump up and they kick it out. And then you see him over in a chair, you're rubbing the leg, catching the breath, But yeah, man, it's some wonderful memories for not just ourselves, but for our friends and family,
Yeah, and I think of some of the leadership. Was it Chuck Wonder? Was he the president of student government or
student
leadership
government?
Right, Omega Man, Chuck Winder. Yes, remember that well, and other leadership positions on campus. So it was quite a time, and it has been quite a time. And what has it meant to the Syracuse community? Because I know the brothers have also been very supportive of some of the community centers as well.
Yeah, man. And, look. Here's what's deep. I went to the first Head Start program at Dunbar as a child. And in later years, I went to Dunbar not knowing that the Black students from Syracuse University were always coming down to Dunbar to help out and to be supportive. And then in later years, when I graduated, I actually ran a pre-kindergarten program at Dunbar, not to mention bringing down some of our Q Pearls to do activities there, and other young students coming down to do interns and things like that. But what's interesting is that the Dunbar Center has always been a beacon for Black students, even as far back as, you could say 50s, 40s. There were Alan Sullivan, who was the brother who actually reactivated Kappa Chapter in '68, worked at Dunbar. He worked at Croton School, which is now King School. He started the track team at Fowler High School. The bros have always done food drives and can drives and things in the community. We've always been a big part of the community, which is why I said 100 years of community service, and that's still going on. But well, you know, you gotta understand, man, back in the day, Black folk couldn't stay on just SU's camp. They had to live in the community with the Black folk.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this history of Syracuse University. I mean, now they're becoming more inclusive because it's kind of necessary now. Everybody's
necessary
for inclusion pathways for everyone. But there was a day when there was serious exclusion, and it wasn't unconscious bias. It was very conscious,
consciously biased.
Right. So what Omega Psi Phi did, as well as other organizations, is that we created safe spaces for ourselves to be authentically who we are and who we are.
It's so true, Joe, when you think about it, talking with Joseph Edwards, Omega Psi Phi fraternity, and the 100 years celebration coming up April 22nd through the 24th. And when I think about like just the closeness of the Black students of Syracuse University, and a lot of that had to do with efforts by like Robert Hill to create the Coming Back Together and continue to bring
Horace Smith. Horace Smith is an unsung hero.
Yes.
Janice Mays is the unsung hero.
Janice Mays, yes. Shout out
Joanne May, yeah.
Joanne May, yes. Right. You have all those folks who really created that community for us. So it's a great weekend. There's a lot of things that the public can actually participate in on this Centennial weekend. But the first thing, Joe, that folks will get to do is something that's very near and dear to you. You produced a one-man show, which is called Fly, and you've won awards for this show, and congratulations to you for that. Talk to me about this notion of Fly. It's going to be at the Red House beginning April 20th, and we'll invite people. You know, obviously, folk can get tickets to a variety of performances that weekend. But tell us about this play, and then tell us about some of the other things going on this weekend that the rest of us can.
Let me just kind of go through the itinerary, because I think you'll find it pretty interesting. So on that Friday, you know, once everybody's checked in and settled, there is a Keeping It 100 party with the Q's at 238 West Division Street. You know, and we'll post that for you so y'all can.
And that's going to be an exclusive. That's what that is. The club is
that's not exclusive. Oh,
that's not exclusive.
No, that's the Keeping It 100 part. That's for
no. That's the name of the club.
I'm sorry. That's the name of the club.
That's the name of the club.
Is what?
Exclusives.
Exclusive. Gotcha.
Exclusives.
Okay.
Is the name of the club.
Is where the Keeping It 100 party is going,
which is at 238 West Division Street.
Yes, thank you, my brother. Thank you. Right, so that's gonna be hot. I mean, that's gonna be an old school. That's gonna be an old school Q party. That's gonna be hot.
Nice.
Yeah, and should I say that the tickets, what the ticket price is, or?
Yes, please. Yeah, please.
The tickets are just $30. But you're gonna have a great time. Single ladies, there are gonna be a lot of brothers there. So
I was gonna say, we're putting the word out right now. Sisters, get ready. The brothers is gonna be in town, bro.
And please excuse them if they're, because they like to talk and they'll be assertive. So don't worry, you'll be able to dance and
Omega Men, right? Omega
Men party. Yeah. All right, and then Saturday, we have a Black Men Build at the Hall of Language, and this is just for young Black men who we want to interface with and talk about some of the things that we're dealing with in terms of healthy masculinity and the challenges that we're facing in this particular climate in the United States, and how we have to take care of ourselves and build bonds and create safe spaces for ourselves and be mindful of our mental health. You see? So that'll be for young brothers. So we're going to have some young brothers and some college students attend.
That's a free event? Is that a free event? Free and open to the public?
Yeah. Just for brothers only now.
Brothers only. Okay, brothers only. Yes.
Right. Not Omega brothers, but young brothers.
Young brothers. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then we have a rededication ceremony, but that's just for Omega Man. But I'm just mentioning it because we'll be on that campus, and when you see us, you know, it's about the fact that we're rededicating ourselves to the commitment that we have to this fraternity and our principles. And then at 2:30 on Saturday, that's when I'm doing the play Fly at the Red House Theater. It's a Centennial performance, I'm calling it. You know, that performance, that people who bought registration packets, it's included in their packet, but those tickets are just $25. And the show is, the show revolves around a brother named Fly, who believes that he's going to receive the ability to fly on this special night when cosmic energy comes to the planet Earth. And he's spinning.
Kind of reminds me like the people could fly, right? You know.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's hilarious. It's dramatic, but it has a serious purpose.
What was your motivation for this show?
Well, you know,
because you wrote it, you produced it, and you're starring.
I did it off Broadway a number of years ago and won 3 Adelco Awards for excellence in Black theater in New York City. And the show really kind of delves into some of the things that Black men have to deal with, and you know, to shield themselves from being vulnerable. Some of the issues we have in our relationships, some of the crazy experiences we have just walking on the planet. But here's the deep part. The deep part is that this brother is summoning up some of our ancient traditions, which was the source of our power and strength, which is what the larger white conqueror community took away from us, because they saw what it did for us and what it gave us. And so as you look at the time right now, if you notice what's happening, is we're constantly reconstructing who we are as a people and restoring our ancestral memory and positioning many of the traditions and rituals that made us a people, a strong people. See, and that's happening all over the planet. So the play kind of messes with your mind in a bit, in that it's getting you to deal with some metaphysical kinds of principles that you know are there, nobody's talking about it, you know? And
this is, you know, you've been acting, you were very active when you acting at Syracuse University. You were a BPA minor, right? VPA major.
Yeah, graduated from college. Yep.
College of Visual and Performing Arts. Yes. Yeah. And this is exciting. So, but there are other opportunities for the public to come see this play.
Yes, there are. Actually, I'm doing the play on the 20th. The 20th is youth night. I'm providing a bunch of youth to the theater, because I've been teaching, you know, for more than 30 years, but particularly in Syracuse, where I you know, was my training ground as an educator. Right. So that night is for young people. It's actually sponsored in part by 100 Black men who are bringing 50 young people to the theater. And I'm working with some other groups that deal with organizations. On Thursday night, that's Divine Nine night. I'm working with some of the local Black Greek organizations to bring groups to Divine Nine night. And then on Friday, it's Old School night. Old School night is for the brothers and sisters in Syracuse who attended Corcoran, Henniger, Nottingham, Fowler in the 70s and 80s, because it would be good to see that whole crowd, see how.
Hey, listen, Central Tech, if you're still around, right?
Yeah, Central Tech too. Central Tech too, absolutely. So Old School night. And then that Saturday is when I do the Centennial performance for the fraternity, and then there are seats still available for that, but a block of tickets have been bought for those who bought their gala daily tickets.
And I'll let the people know that they can go to my website, georgekilpatrick.com, and we'll have the links to the performances. You can sign up today and before they sell out, because there'll be a lot. So now, so you want folks to come to the Keeping It 100 with the Omegas, 238 West Division Street. That's the old school party. But then there's a Centennial Banquet as well.
Yes,
Saturday night.
Absolutely. So that is after my performance on that Saturday. There is the gala. This is the Centennial Gala, which cocktail hour starts at 6, and formal program starts at 7. And that's going to be a powerful event in that it is going to delve into our history and pay homage to some of our early pioneers. We have a brother William Sadat Singh. Yes. Yes, he was the first
black quarterback at Syracuse.
Black quarterback, and he played football. And they thought he was white, but when the campus knew he was black. When he traveled out, they thought he was white. But he was the first. He was the precursor for McPherson and
Donovan McNabb.
McNabb, yeah, he was, and we're talking 1930, baby.
Yeah,
the 30s. And we have some other brothers who were brilliant back then. In fact, Omega Psi Phi had the first Black man to graduate from Syracuse University's law school, who went on to be a prominent, lawyer and represent, Black Panthers and things like that. But the banquet is going to have a wonderful program that's going to honor some people from the community who are unsung heroes, and basically give us a chance to just reflect and recognize that we've been here for 100 years.
And we should say, so what's the price for so if people want to see the play, that's $25.
Right.
And then for the
gala itself is $175. The whole weekend is $225. That gives you access to all of the events that we're doing. But if you're just coming to the gala, it's $175, and it'll be worth it. The food will be great.
Black tie, right? Black tie affair.
Yep, black tie. You can do some Afrocentric accents if you choose.
Okay. Come and be a regal, be a king or a queen, however you want to do it, right?
Absolutely. And it's hosted by a brother, James Jordan, which I'm sure some Syracusans are very familiar with.
They might know him as Scrappy.
Scrap. True.
That's a government name, but everybody know him as Scrappy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And listen, and then we have a farewell breakfast at the Marriott, which is the host hotel. So everything, the gala is taking place at the Marriott. The farewell brunch is taking place at the Marriott. But some of these other events are on campus, and the Red House is actually, unfortunately, just a block and a half from the Marriott.
The Marriott, the host hotel. Yeah, it's right up the street. It's right around the corner.
Right.
And for old school folks, the former Sibley's, right?
Yeah, right.
That's how long I've been here. Hey, listen, Joe, let me ask you something. So everybody, they can find all of that on our page, georgekilpatrick.com.
Yeah.
There's also a Facebook page, and we can put that, we'll post that all over our social media platform so people will get access. And I'm certainly, Omega Psi Phi and I are in partnership on this. And so we're excited to be able to help them get the word out. Let me say this. I wanted to ask you something quick. You're an actor, and last week, we celebrated actors, but so a little something broke out at the celebration of actors. What's your take on the Chris Rock, Will Smith, Jada Pinkett? Yeah, it's Jada Pinkett. Yeah, Jada Pinkett Smith. The whole that entanglement, for lack of a better word.
Well, I think. First of all, I don't think you should put your hands on anybody, particularly in that setting, in that platform.
Right?
There are a bunch of other things that he could have done. I understand how he felt, about his woman.
Right.
But he shouldn't have put his hands on Chris Rock. Even if he said something from his seat, he shouldn't have walked up on
Which
stage.
he did, right? He did say a few things from
Right.
his seat. Yeah.
Yeah. After he smacked him.
After he smacked him, yeah.
But you see what I'm saying? So, man, it's just the thing for me is interesting is I was watching Denzel watching Will, giving him the eye like, brother, don't mess this up. This ain't the time for that.
Yeah, it's interesting because we don't even remember what happened now. We don't know who won nothing now because of that, right? We forgot that Questlove won for Summer of Soul. We forgot that he actually won Best Actor for his role
and you're not
in
even
Wicked.
talking about that. But you're not even talking about that. But what's interesting about that one incident is that it opened up the fact that it's a very complicated issue for Black people, because on the one hand, Black women have been historically disrespected and not protected. Black men have been disrespected, and as part of the reason why so many of us are in jail is because of the feeling disrespected, but underneath
and not knowing how to handle that, right? And not knowing how to channel that. And part of what I've been saying is, and in consultation with a lot of sisters, is we don't have practice at not responding that way. So although people, one thing that people aren't talking about, and Chris Rock is taking a lot of ridicule for this, which is he didn't respond back. And you hear a lot of people saying, man, we would have tore up them Oscars, right? If that had been me, right?
Right.
Can you imagine? Now that would have been real crazy.
Now, I think I think Chris Rock did the right thing, because, man, look at this from a racial perspective. Already we're fighting for greater inclusion.
Correct.
And then Black people break out and brawl on the stage, and then what stereotype does that reinforce? Can't let too many of them in. It reinforces. It's unfortunate, but it echoes all of that, man. And but I would say that it really started an interesting conversation with folk around the social dynamics of the disrespect, and because it's a ball of wax. There's a lot of things going on in there. His childhood, not being able to protect his mother, his wife being picked on, and then she gives him that look. She gave him that look, and that's why he went up there, because he saw that she was in pain and a dude insulted her. I mean, I've seen people seriously hurt behind that, and I've seen women manipulate that power too.
You know what at the time of our conversation, the Academy is investigating. I'm trying to figure out what they're investigating. What they investigating, Joe? We all saw it in front of our face. What's the investigate? What do we investigate?
They're investigating what they should have done.
Okay.
What they should have done, because they were contemplating removing Will from
the theater. Yeah.
But they couldn't get together in time to figure it all out. Plus, that would have probably made a larger scandal to remove him. But I bet you they'll have security next time.
Yes, they will. Right. Yeah. What do you think the resolution is? And I wanted to pick up something you said earlier, Joe, about we didn't say this online, but in an earlier conversation, we talked about the white gaze and us. A lot of the reaction of what white folk would think about that. And you see, one of the other conversations that's happening, Joe, is that folks are saying, white folk, you sit this one out. This is a conversation for us. What are your thoughts about that? I've heard that too.
We can say that, but they're going to have the conversation. They're already having it. You can bet they're having their conversations. And and their conversations are worth listening to too, because I think the power is in the conversation. You know,
so you're not about you're not about, because there's a lot of that. I've seen it. You know, y'all just sit this one out, because one of the commentators, Sonia Renee Taylor, says that Will's response and all of it was rooted in, what does she call it? White supremacist delusion. That's how she described that. And so she said, y'all watch it, have your thoughts, but don't say anything about it. So it's an interesting dynamic. What I'm hearing you say is, no, we all need to keep talking, and nobody should be silent.
It's two different conversations.
Okay.
Because what white folk need to understand is the historical pathologies that are underneath all that behavior. And
so you kind of with her with that then on that piece.
I'm with her in the sense that I think they should listen more than talk.
Right.
Because I think that they don't even get that piece of the historical patterns that cause maladaptive behaviors in Black people. You see, they can't relate to that, but we actually acted out, and then we received the repercussions of it, and also, you know, it reinforces what the dominant society tries to put on us, right? Because they've heaped all their pathologies on Black folk,
right?
You know,
and we sometimes are willing participants in it too.
True that, but they do the same thing. But because the stereotype ain't on them, you know, they walk away. Oh, it's just an individualist thing, as opposed to a pattern in their culture, you know. But I think what's interesting is that it sparked enough conversation for brothers and sisters to process it. Process it so that we can overstand this thing a little bit more.
You know, one other piece that I heard, Joe, about this, I want to ask this because you are an actor, and you know, this is you, right? I mean, you could be a comedian, you could say something on the stage, and then here comes somebody running up after you. Now they might have a different response, but another thing that came up was the need for him to protect her and not give her the license, if you will. Is that the word I want to look for?
To protect herself.
Right. Like minimizing her voice in the conversation without her having the opportunity to speak for herself. And that's also debatable, right? Because on the one hand, there's Team Will, yay, you spoke up for the Black woman, and thank you for that. And then there's Team, well, he took her, what's that? He took her voice away. And did I need her? Did I ask him to do that? Did I need him to do that? So there's that other piece that you hear some saying more on the feminist side of that, but you hear that too.
You know, in that moment, that dynamic was between Jada and Will. And we don't know all of the context of what that moment meant for them.
Right.
We're on the outside looking in.
Right.
And when they got a whole history of stuff that they're entangled with. And so, because if you watch it, Will was laughing until he looked at Jada's face.
Right.
See, so that triggered whatever
all of that
stuff
right
was.
Yeah.
See, he looked at that and saw, and that's when he had to respond.
He snapped.
And it probably triggered all the stuff in him from being a child, not being able to protect his mother, but also he just played King Richard, which was a protector of the women in his family, particularly his girls. So as an actor, right, he still has that subconscious stuff in his head, you know.
And Richard Williams was like, yo, bro, don't even do that. Don't even use me in that. All right. I want to do that as a quick aside. The real deal. Is this all on Eventbrite? Where can people find it if they don't get it on my page? Where can they find this?
Well, they can go to the Omega Psi Phi. They can go to the Syracuse on Facebook.
Hold it up higher. There you go. There we go. The Syracuse on Facebook. Got
on
it. Okay.
Facebook.
Yes,
And that's where
yes.
you can find everything you need.
That looks good, Joe. Okay.
Yep. And also, they can also, you're going to post your stuff on social media, right?
I'm gonna have it every day for them. But if they're on social,
Okay.
yep, we'll share all of the links and get everyone. We're looking for a great turnout. Help the Omega Psi Phi fraternity Kappa chapter celebrate 100 years on the campus of Syracuse University, April 24th through April 26th.
No, April 22nd through 24th.
Yeah, sorry, April 22nd through 24th.
But George,
April
I just wanted to mention, I just want to talk quickly about some of the dynamic brothers who come out of Kappa chapter.
Come on now.
We got Vincent H. Cohen Jr., former acting U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia, before becoming a partner at Descartes, where he previously served as the principal assistant U.S. attorney.
And also a trustee at Syracuse University.
That's right. We got Michael Blackshear, Chief Compliance and Privacy Officer for Ryan Specialty Group, and a member of Syracuse University's trustee board.
Another trustee, yes.
Right. And we got Brother Zaire Franklin, linebacker for the Indianapolis Colts, team captain and community leader.
And Zaire, I got to give Zaire a shout out. This brother, when he was at Syracuse University, was a faithful visitor to the Bethany Baptist Church. Believe it. And brought other players with him. So that brother is what he says he is. Okay. Okay. That brother was coming to church as an athlete when they were in town and brought other players with him.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I'm just in awe of some of the brothers that we have and the work that they're doing. You know, and that's why this rededication that we're doing for ourselves is so important. Because given what we're dealing with as Black men globally, we have to reinvest in ourselves, and we have to reinvest in our bond, and we have to reinvest in our community. It's one of the things that look, man, our community was one of the first things that was attacked throughout history. And even every time we were to build up and become independent,
right,
we'd be attacked. We can't let that happen anymore. We got technology on our side. We got more educated brothers than ever. There's a global movement for reparations, if people don't know about that.
Dude, I know you're working on something with that as well.
As a matter of fact, yes. I just got a grant to write, to turn my reparations presentation, which was a presentation I did on the history of it, into a one-man show.
Right.
Which it looks like I'm going to be doing in Syracuse in 2023. But then that's the setup for reparations, my play with music, which I've been working on for a number of years. And nobody believed in what I was doing. But the ancestors were guiding me, man. When I was writing this, information was just coming left and right,
And Joe, there's another thing you were telling me about, in Ghana and was celebrating the year of return, but you say that there's another nation that is also claiming claiming folks of the diaspora. Talk to me.
Yeah, well, Panama, which is where my wife is from. We have a dear friend, Dr. Melita Harris Barrow, who is the founder and chair of the 6 global region Chamber of Commerce. And that means all Africans outside of Africa.
Okay.
She is bringing a delegation of kings and queens and dignitaries to Panama for the first time in history. And Panama has a deep, rich history of Black folk there all the way back to the 1500s. They built Panama, the ruins that are still there, and Panama City that's still there. Many of those buildings were built by Africans. And you have a whole section of Panama that is Black, Cologne, all the way down that coastal line is nothing but beautiful Black people, whose ancestors were there for centuries, So she's bringing these kings and queens there for the first time to atone for participating in the slave trade, but also to build business and begin to combine expertise and trade and things in Panama. And then it most likely will go to Chicago. And then it goes to the Caribbean, and then it's going to Africa. So it's like 4 stops, and the final stop is Africa. But it's hitting all these major spots where our people were dropped off during the slave trade. And I'll send you. And in fact, she actually willing to come on your show. She's a wonderful
We'd love to talk to her. Sounds like somebody lovely. All right, Joe, we got to run. Let's make it happen. April 22nd to the 24th, the Centennial celebration of Kappa chapter on the campus of Syracuse University.
Wait, George.
Wait, what you got for me, Joe?
Nobody walks like a cute dog, and nobody talks like a cute dog, and nobody loves you like a cute dog. So hold a cute tight and don't let go. I said hold a cute tight and don't let go. I said cute Psi Phi, cute Psi Phi. All right, George, I got it out my system.
You good now, bro? You good?
Cute Psi. Don't miss the Kappa Chapter Centennial celebration, y'all. It's gonna be hot.
April 22nd through the 24th, Syracuse on Facebook, GeorgeKilpatrick.com for links to all the activities. This is Inspiration for the Nation.